Great, good afternoon. I think we had a very great session from beginning. We started late, but glad we might just cover it, and hence I might go fast on my slides. But before I get into my slide deck and share my experience with you, something about me. So I've been into this industry, RPA. You might know about it, robotic process automation. We are hearing a lot of digital enterprise and the buzzwords today, digital transformation, how do you scale it and so on and so forth for manufacturing industry. So what we do at Automation Anywhere is that we automate your business processes. And it's not new, right? I mean, you guys have done it. It's the manufacturing unit who've been doing automation since like what, 30, 40 years now? Earlier it used to be all manual, but you guys have done it, and I've seen some sessions here on how do you actually scale your automation in supply chain in manufacturing world. So what we do is we take the same logic. I mean, it's pretty easy for me to come on stage and be a jazzy leader and share my thoughts with you. But that's not the case, right? I mean, I don't want to show you the slides and say what we do and what all we not do. I want to share my experience with you because I've been fortunate enough to work with hundreds of Fortune 1000 companies. And I want to share what the CIO and the CXOs of these organizations talk to us. What is their problem statement? And again, like I said, we don't have to really be smart enough in saying that, I want to scale this, I want to scale that, I want to be truly digital enterprise. But actually it goes with the logic of manufacturing unit who have done it in the history. So it's all about looking back in history and applying the same logic back, that how do I go about automating my processes today and how do I scale it? So there are two traits to it, right, to go a digital enterprise organization. And what are those two traits? But before I get into those two traits and discuss it with you within the slide, like I said, I want to share those examples with you. So one of the large CXO of a large bank came to us, and this was a few years back. This was pre-pandemic, right? And he made a statement. He said that, my customer acquisition cost, and this was a US bank, by the way. So he said that, my customer acquisition cost today is $1,600. PayPal's customer acquisition cost is $45. He knows I'm not smart enough. He says that I'm not going to survive. In the next 10 years, my organization is not going to survive. So if you look at history as well, probably 10 years back, those Fortune 500 companies, how many actually exist today? Not long ago, only 10 years back. And you can actually count it on your fingers. And then there would be other problem statements as well in terms of going digital. Not that the CXO at that time of those Fortune 500 companies didn't think about going digital. But did they actually solve that particular problem of truly going a digital enterprise organization? So one of the, another example I'll give you is the CIO of a large manufacturing company. Now he said that I can see, and this was recently, he said that I can see a lot of technologies coming into me. I have a barrage of technologies in my organization. Every day a business unit comes to me and says, we need to buy this tool, we need to buy that tool. He asked why. They said, this is a number one company. Buy this ERP, buy this security software tool because it's the number one company. This is a number two company. But he can see that all these technologies that he deals with every day, and the CIO needs to make that decision that, okay, I need to buy this software or that software, and how do I actually club it and make it work? So that barrage of technologies kept on increasing within the CIO's portfolio, and he was not happy about it. Managing the technology, maintaining the technology is a different thing, but he cannot even say no because the business has to grow. At the other end, the business started putting labor towards it, right? The manual labor towards it. The number of technology kept on increasing, and we kept on increasing our manual labor there to fulfill all the business transactions. But that's actually not the way to go about it. So when we talk to all these CXO companies, the thing that I realized, in my experience within these organizations of Fortune 500, the real problem is not about how do I deal with these technologies, how do I deal with the barrage of technologies today. The actual question is, how does the success look like for my organization? And if you think about it, if you're an organization of 1,000 people today, and your volume increases, and we'll move on to the next slide here. So these are the organizations that already work with our company, Automation Anywhere, and we are the market leader. So when these organizations come, and they are still in the market, they are probably, AT&T is probably #1 telecom company around the world in US and so on and so forth. We have Indian customers too. But when these organizations comes to us, and when they say that I truly want to become a digital enterprise, but I cannot keep on adding so many technologies, and then I have to find a way out that how do I put it on cloud? Because cloud is also an aspect. So the hundreds of technologies, when the islands of isolation comes, managing those technology becomes really difficult, and really difficult to scale it when your volume goes high. So one of the organizations, for example, one of the banks, Key Bank, who came to us, and they said that during the pandemic, they mentioned that if you know about it, right, if you are into sort of a BFSI segment, at that time the government started giving loans like anything, and they wanted to boost the economy. So Key Bank is one of our customer, and just giving you an example, in India there are a lot of other customers as well in terms of BFSI and manufacturing domain, but this particular customer had a lot of volume of processes that came to them suddenly during the pandemic, because the government opened the gateways of giving loans like anything to all these SMBs. Now what happens is that during pandemic everybody was working from home, they still are working from home. Now they said that let us go ahead and deploy this in India, in BPOs. Right? The BPO came and said that our guys are also working working from home. And if I have to cater to that volume, it's going to actually take 9 years for me to fulfill those transactions. Imagine that, 9 years. And he doesn't want to increase the headcount as well within my organization. It is not smart enough to run 1 million transaction within your organization with 1,000 people, and then suddenly the transaction goes to 3 million, you're not going to add overnight 2,000 people. Not smart enough. Your CHRO will deny it. It is still okay to add 200 people, right? But not like 2,000 people to cater that 3 million transaction instead of 1 million. So using Automation Anywhere, which is what we do, we have a platform called Automation Anywhere Success Platform, and that's how we renamed that. Again, like I said, you just have to look back in history and try to find the pieces that if I've automated the processes, the actual processes in manufacturing, why can't I actually go ahead and automate my business processes? And that's where KeyBank, and there is a case study, just feel free to visit our website and all of that, and feel free to come to a booth. But within 2 weeks, 9 years of work was done at KeyBank. Same thing went for Tata Sky. This is again an Indian story. When they came into market, there were already a lot of players within our Indian market. Right? They came a little late in content delivering and all of that. So when they came to market, their problem was again adding more people to these transactions that they do, be it in finance, be it in HR, be it in supply chain, be it in marketing. What they wanted to focus more was on content delivery, because the end user wanted that. But they were focusing more towards, completing the day-to-day transactions. And that's where they started automating their processes right from day one, using the same platform. And they were able to do that and saved 10,000, this is an old case study, I don't know how many hours now, but they were able to save 10,000 hours annually. And they were able to focus more towards the content delivery side of it. So that's the power that this platform gives you. It's a quick snapshot of our global customers. So if you look at it, and this is not to boost that who my customer is, the reason I'm putting this slide is to show you that if you look at the manufacturing domain, and if you look at the, let's say, pharma organizations, you name it and we would have it under our umbrella. Now what's the common thing between all of them? They all use the same tool. It is not different. It is all off-the-shelf product that you can go ahead, put it within your organization. It is available on cloud and on-prem. On cloud is much better these days, because the technology that you want is something where I said there are 2 traits for going digital enterprise, truly digital enterprise. The first trait is, how do I deliver value to my customer? How do I do it? Where do I do it? And when do I do it? And it has to be real. It cannot be reactive. Like I said, some of those Fortune 500 companies doesn't exist anymore because they were reactive. So that's the first trait of going truly a digital enterprise. The second thing is digital at scale. So if you are putting, again the same example, if you're putting 2,000 people for 3 million transactions, that's not wise. Then you can't claim to be a digital enterprise company. Then you are failing miserably. And hence, you would find a smart way that how my transaction goes high, how do I automate those business processes with just adding minor people or no people at all. And that's how you would go about it in creating a true digital economy for your own organization. I'll give you a quick snapshot of India customers because we're presenting here in Mumbai. So these are our India customers. These are just limited, but you can go through it very quickly. And again, like I said, be it an AstraZeneca in pharma or Google or LinkedIn who all use our same tool, but it's also Indian oil. I mean, you would have never realized it that the oil that you're getting in the Indian oil pumps goes through a lot of processes which actually runs on this platform. You would have not realized that a lot of airlines, I mean, I'll give you a simple example. If you go back in history, if you go back in 2000, right, the digital world started coming in, the cloud technology started coming in, and people were talking about everything will go on cloud. So that happened in 2000. The laptops came, the internet came and everything. In somewhere later on, after a few years, all the applications started coming in, probably 10 years later, in 2010. We would have never realized it. Probably 80% of us today would have got a cab, right? Ola or Uber. Right? Earlier in those days when Uber was not there, Uber started it. Right? They disrupted the whole industry. People were like, today if I have to come from whatever, Andheri or from airport to this place, I would go ahead and log into an application and the cab comes and you come here, pretty easy. But earlier it was not there, right? Someone did not disrupt that. So earlier you would still go ahead and that Lal Pili taxi and you would go ahead and get that taxi and you would come here and it was a havoc. And people also started saying that, the taxi drivers basically, but they all converted into Ola and Uber. Right? How easy it is. Same thing goes for laptops as well. When the laptops were introduced, when the computers were introduced, people were like, my jobs will go away, the clocks. But today, look at it. I mean, there are so many banks. In my hometown itself, earlier there was one bank. Today I can find 15 banks around it. So the work has in fact got better and the consumers, the end customer got the value out of it, which was technology driven. It is not about, what is the number one technology, what is the number two technology, what do I get in? That is never going to end. Even in automation industry, I was just talking to someone and they said that, I want to automate a process which we are thinking can do it through API. But you think about it, API is not the solution. Many of your CIOs here knows that world's automation of processes is less, world's API's automation is less than 5%. They are not gonna scale. And even if you say, someone did this, I think at Wall Street, someone did this study, it's available on the internet. They said that if you wanna connect all these applications, and if you want to be really truly digital enterprise using API solutions, today on this planet, I would need 50 times more programmer than what we have today. It's not gonna happen. Right? Earlier, someone from JK Siemens, there was a very good talk, and he said it in Hindi. Jo aaj mil raha hai, mujhe wo do. Now, don't talk about what we are getting in 10 years. So, is there a technology that you are getting off the shelf where you can just throw the processes on that platform and it just does the job for you intelligently? So yes, you can do that. So how do you do it? There is an automation divide. Like I mentioned, that you have this is your reality. People who have, there are a lot of existing customers here as well who are using our product, but this is your reality on how do I drive adoption. The problem is, I was again talking to one gentleman here and they are our customers. I was talking to Wellspun, right? And he's here. And he mentioned to me right now, a few minutes back that, I want to go in, he's using our solution and he wants to go into different departments. So how do you actually go about it? There are tons of processes within my organization that I can automate, but I need to find out what are those processes that I can automate at a CIO level, at a CXO level, and how do I actually go ahead and create the pipeline of those automation processes. So the first thing that you need to decide is you need to have a single platform, a single pane of glass where you would define that these are the business processes I have, these are my low-hanging fruits, and let's put them into a category of unattended automation. So you go ahead and automate that first, the low-hanging fruit parts. The complicated process, we're going to live with that. AI and ML is going to be a part of it, we all know it. So AI and ML is not going away, but they are not going to solve you 100% automation problem, but it is okay. World doesn't care about 100%. They don't care about that I need to have 100% accuracy and production. These are all jazzy words. People are okay with 80% automation. So you have to find a way out, how do I solve 80% of my problem with 20% of my cost? And that is the way to go about it. You can always solve that, right? You are into manufacturing, nobody knows it, how to optimize it better than you guys. Same thing applies for your business processes that you look at every day. So these are my 80%. If I'm solving that 80% problem and I'm just putting 20% of my money into it, people are, you're the champion in that organization to truly digitally scale it. It is not a solution of 80% problem and solving it with 200% cost. You will get fired probably the next quarter. So how do you go about it, right? How does, my initial question was, it is not about, the barrage of technologies. How do you actually manage it? It is gonna come to you. The technologies will keep on changing. Many of you were on a certain ERP system, let's say SAP, moved to Oracle, Oracle to Salesforce. That will keep on happening within the organization. And you will keep on adding those technologies within your organization. There is no end to it. So you need to decide that, can I have a platform, a single pane of glass, where I can go ahead and automate all the processes end to end. And that is where we solve it with how does your success look like. And that is how our success platform comes in place. So if you look at it, these boxes that you see in the center one is the RPA workspace. So like I said, that's the low-hanging fruits for you. You decide, out of these 100 processes I do, be it in HR, be it in marketing, be it in sales, be it in finance, be it in supply chain, if I'm doing these 100 processes every single day, how many of them are repeated processes that I do? And a simple example, there are many, but let's say a simple example is this invoice process. No rocket science there. Invoice comes to you, you read the data, punch it into your SAP or an ERP application, done. That's it. There is a three-way match that you have to do. That's about it. There is no intelligence you are using there, right? Why not I just automate it and trigger it overnight? So I can actually, my finance guy can actually focus on something which will deliver the value. Like I said, there were two traits, delivering the value to your customer and digital at scale. If you're not doing these two, you cannot claim to be a digital enterprise organization. And hence when you have to do that, so you categorize out of those 100, 20 of them can go into RPA workspace, which is your unattended automation. So you start with those low-hanging fruits. And then what you do is, the other processes which falls under AI or ML category, which are unstructured data, the unstructured processes that you have, which are not very well defined in our organization, and we all have that, right? At least in India, we all have that there are many processes within our organization which are not very well defined. So be it. That's okay. I cannot wait those processes to be standardized 100%. Even if it is 80% there, I would still go ahead and automate it using our IQ bot, which is a bridge between your structured data and an unstructured data. It creates a structure, a template, where you can go ahead and filter the data out that is relevant for your ERP application or whatever application you are using from an unstructured data format. So you put that under the AI category of it. So once you start there, right, just look at it like one bot. It's available on cloud. We also have a community edition. Anyone is free to go ahead and try it and create the bots. We have something called a bot store that you see it in the last brick there. A bot store is something you can go to botstore.automationanywhere.com. That's the link. You would find hundreds and thousands of bots which are already there. So if someone has already automated it, an invoice process, again a simple example, if someone has done that, why do you want to reinvent the wheel? Just go ahead and download that bot for your organization, run it, make the changes, maybe it is not 100%, but make those changes that 10-20% for your organization and try to run that bot. So you have a bot marketplace, just like you have an app store, right? You would download it. If I want to take a cab from point A to point B, what do? You go to App Store, download Uber or Ola application, you download that app and then you book a cab. Same thing for bots. You download that bot from the bot store and make it used for your own organization. Now when you are on that scaling journey, then you also want to find out that how do I know? Now when you are few bots within your organization, then another problem comes in, which is like, how do I scale? How do I know within my organization where the footprint is so high in my country and out of country as well? How do I know what processes are lying where and how do I automate that? That's where we have acquired a company called Fortress IQ, again a San Francisco based company. It actually is a process intelligence tool. All I do is give you that tool. It records everything that you do in a single day. an SME, and it gives you a blueprint of what have you done and what can be automated. It's pretty simple. So when you are 10 bots in within your organization, you don't have to actually, the CIOs or the COE team don't have to go to 10 other departments and say, ye process do, wo process do, and then let me automate it, let me try. You don't have to do that anymore. The Fortress IQ, that application will tell you what processes can be automated within my organization. So before you even get into it and present it to your stakeholders, you know that I'm going to automate in the next 6 months, I'm going to automate these 30 processes. And that's my pipeline. And you can start with those 30 processes, which is the blueprint for you to get started there. And the second last is Bot Insights and Analytics platform, where every CIO, every CXO wants to know the data, the real-time data, right? We saw the match yesterday. I mean, I'm not a fan of cricket that much, but one of my friend is here. So he was telling me about the match yesterday, right? You want to know the score then. I asked him at that time, when I was on a call with him, I asked him who's doing well. I think Lucknow and RCB was playing, or maybe Rajasthan Royals was there, I guess. So I asked him what's the score and what's happening. I don't want to know it right now. I wanted to know it yesterday. So not just the customer, when the customer requests from you or when your manager requests the data from you, you want it real time. So that you are making that decision in that quarter for your organization. You don't have to wait for the data to come in and then you compile it. So the bots, imagine that platform, the bots are doing the job for you. It's throwing that data to the dashboards of our Bot Insights or Analytics platform, where you can actually look it on your mobile phone, how many orders was placed today, what was the cost against it, what is my inventory, how much I have to pay to my vendor, how do I get out of this problem. You get all that data, you customize all that data, even on, right now you can look it on your phone, while the bots are working in your office. So you can see that data. If a customer calls you right now and he says, I don't see this shipment and I have not been paid for this invoice, what would you typically do? You would call that particular function and ask them or email them and all of that. What if the power comes to you and you can actually see it on your phone there? The data, that's the real-time power. That's when you can claim that I am a truly digital enterprise organization. And I can go ahead and this question came to me from General Motors in US. So they use our tool for more than a decade now. And in one of the events, this was a couple of years back, in one of the events, he asked me the same thing. How do I solve this problem? He gets called from so many vendors around the world. He cannot ignore that because of the relationship he shares with those vendors. So he has automated all his finance and supply chain processes, but now he doesn't have that data. And that's where we introduce that analytics platform. So instead of someone getting back to him and all of that, he's actually giving that answer to that vendor who's very important for him, that yes, it is stuck because of so and so reason. Let me get back to you with the required function within the next 1 hour. And then I can make a call to that function and ask him what's happening. And he can get back to that data or with that data to the customer. That's real-time power. Because saying, hold on, I'll get back to you, you don't pick it up, you know why he's calling. You don't want to do that. So you actually want that real-time data, just like the analogy I gave about the cricket match we had yesterday. So there are mainly, if you want to go, what are the differentiators? There are a couple of tools available in the market. But if you say, automation anywhere, what do you provide? What is the differentiator of your organization? And I present to you these 6 differentiators that we have, or rather 5. So you have something where I said it can work on front office and back office. So the experience, the example I shared with you, right? The real-time data, the customer experience. And I shared the data at a CIO level. Imagine you give the same power to your employees. Then look at the customer value you are delivering at that time. So that customer experience really increases. And in my opinion, I've been through this. If I buy an insurance from a company for my car, for example, I know that this insurance company is better for me because I get a good service from them. Right? You also decide in the similar fashion. So it is about the service there. It is not about, they giving you the solution after 1 week or 2 weeks and say, I'll get back to you. So the experience really matters. If you don't do that, then your competition is doing it. That's how at least I decide in my personal life. In your case as well, within your organization, it's the same factor. The vendors and the customers are going to decide based on the experience that they receive from you, how agile it is and how fast you are in terms of providing them services. And how do you do that? So you have a connected platform there. Like I said, unattended, attended, all the automation, AI, ML comes under the same window. You are not buying different tools to automate one type of a specific process. Right? There are many tools available, but the same tool cannot work on SAP, cannot work on Oracle, cannot work on a web-based application, cannot work on mainframes. So if you have something like that, which is one single platform, you have it all. So you are connected with all those applications within your organization. And if you have it on cloud, then nothing like it. Like I gave you that example of a CIO, right? He sees all the elements that he sees day to day. It's going to go on cloud. So we have a lot of customers in India adopting cloud, and let me tell you, the cloud adaptability in India is really good. From small or medium enterprises, even banks, not the government banks, they are still getting there because the approval process is really long. But all the banks, all the insurance companies, all the manufacturing companies, the reason I'm mentioning banks is because the data. So in your manufacturing world as well, everything is data, right? What is a process? Process is nothing but end of the day, it is data. It comes into one form, right? In some sort of an application, you massage the data, you put all the conditions. If this happens, then what? You filter it, structure it, and put it into another application. That's all what we do. Everything is data today. So I want to optimize the data I get. In fact, with some of the telecom companies I'm working on, the large telecom companies even in India, they want to monetize. And you guys can also think about it. How do I monetize on the data that I have in my company? So 5G is going to roll out. People are already, the telecom companies are working since 5 years on how do I monetize this data. So that is the next step, at least for the India corporate to move on in terms of, first you go with the automation piece, but later on you also have to find out how do I monetize this data and how do I make it really quick within my organization. And of course, so if you have it on cloud, then it's pretty easy, right? Because it's easier to access whenever you want it, however you want it, and whenever you want the customer to access it. And trust, obviously, because like I mentioned, we have the large banks, not just the Indian banks, but US banks as well. You name it, and they would be using this tool. So security-wise, you don't have to worry about it. And obviously, the success part, how does the success look like? So I will actually go into this slide where I will mention these are the analyst group, be it Gartner, be it IDC, be it Forrester. If you look at the trend from 2016, so this industry was already there, but a different name. Back in 2012 or 13, the industry was named as RPA, and then it just kept on expanding. And after that, from 2016 till now, we are getting all those awards, and we are the top vendors around the world in terms of RPA domain and AI and ML processes. And again, the way to go about this is what is the other differentiator on why we should just go with your platform. So if I have to name the Indian customers, you saw the slide earlier, right? The reason that they rely on us is because the India manufacturing units want something where we can support them 24/7. So that's a support window that you have. And we have offices in India around the world. So you can, not just in India, but around the world. So if you have a larger footprint in different countries in Europe or APAC or anywhere else, you are also getting a support from that angle as well. There are three basic concepts to it. One is a self-service model. Like I said, we have a bot store. Can I download a bot, not reinvent a wheel, and go ahead and start using automation within my processes? So you have a self-service model there, which also includes a free community edition. And you also have a global community, a developer portal, where you can actually go ahead and learn to code on a low-code platform on complex processes. So you can actually learn from a very global community that, oh, what is this manufacturing company? I mean, I was talking to one gentleman here, and I spoke about electronics manufacturing. So Honeywell is using it big time in terms of their manufacturing processes. And they are not just doing it in India, but worldwide. So how do they actually learn from that global community of developers and the global community of customers we have on our Automation Anywhere university platform there? And the last and not the least is the expert services there, right? So if you want to jumpstart it, so we provide 2 types of services to get you started. We can help you initially a month or so if you say that come down here, create a COE model within my organization and let my team run it, and that's where we are expert in. It is because I said it is a low code, no code platform. It's pretty easy for you to adopt it. We just handhold you and you get started. We also have thousands of partners. So if you are already somehow, you guys would have the same partners that we work with. You can shortlist any of those partners who are already engaged with you, and the partner can go ahead and start that ecosystem for you in terms of you being truly digital enterprise organization. So what would you do next, right? After my, and I think we are almost the time, but after my discussion here and sharing my experience rather than showing you, what is our tool about and all of that, I wanted to make it more real for you, share my thoughts, my experience with you, what are the problems that these Fortune 1000 companies that I've worked with face. And what I've learned is, after this session, what I would request you guys to think about 1 or 2 processes. In fact, within my conversations earlier, during that networking, a few people already came to me and said, this is a problem I have. Can you solve this? I said, yes, this is pretty easy to do. Let's arrange a call tomorrow and I will help you there. So think about that problem statement within your organization. Think about one process. And it could be any function out of here. It could be IT, it could be sales, it could be manufacturing, it could be supply chain, finance. Think of it, those processes. Come to us, talk to us. We have a booth there as well. We have our architects, we have our people there. Come and talk to us and tell us that this is what I intend to do. Or I simply want to see how do you actually go ahead and automate it for so-and-so organization. Chances are that your competition is already doing it. So talk about those competition who are already automating those processes using the same tool. Learn it, adapt it, and put it within your organization in a matter of couple of weeks. So think about those processes. That's an exercise, I want you guys to pick today after you leave, this building. Think about that tonight, mull over it, come back to us, please email us, please talk to us, and where do you want to get started, and we will help you to get started there in your digital economy there for your own organization. And I think that's about it. I can take questions, or do we have time? That's fine. That's it. Thank you guys.